Hello, hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the September 2025 intuitive reading. Guys, I'm super excited. We're in September already. I know these aren't extremely straight, but I tried my best, guys. Okay, so same three decks that I'm using. They're all shuffled, of course, different order. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Please share this video if anybody needs to hear the energies and the influences of the month of September 2025. And all comments down below. I love reading your comments. I suggest that you watch this video in the beginning of the month and then the end of the month. See what has transpired, see what has manifested, see what messages really resonate during this month. And I would love to hear you guys share how that did down below. All right, let's just jump right into it, guys. I'm excited, and let's go. All right, what do we need? We need companion. Oh, well. Pretty straightforward, right? Coming right out of the bat. We need companionship, loyalty, tenacity, unselfishness. Okay, so, I mean, pretty straightforward, right? Basically, Spirit's saying, we need partnership of some kind, right? This actually, companion, when you hear that word, sometimes you think pets. For sure. Like, if you are thinking of getting a pet of some kind, this is basically validation that, yeah, you definitely do maybe need that. And it does seem like that might be like the best path for you right now. So definitely, if you've been thinking about, getting a pet, this is the sign to possibly get one. Obviously, use your own intuition, but this could also be maybe you're finally ready to date or kind of get out there or meet somebody, or maybe you're prioritizing relationships this month or something like that. But companionship is important. Maybe you're doing volunteer work and hanging out with seniors or something like that. But definitely we need that companionship. We need other humans. Humans need other humans. We're not isolated creatures. So I love that. And I mean, Spirit, that's pretty straightforward. And what an interesting card to get right out the bat. All right, action needed. We have White Witch, be the light. Okay, so this is saying that we need to be a little bit more positive, need to be a little bit more of the light, get a little bit out of the darkness. So maybe we start seeing the light with something. It is under action needed. So basically it's saying that we, it's kind of alluding to the fact that we need to do it. So we need to be more positive. We need to switch our own mindsets. We need to switch our own attitudes, our own moods, to look at things in a more positive light. It would benefit us for sure. Helping us get there's nothing wrong with the darkness, right? But we don't want to stay there. Okay. So that's kind of what it's saying as well. So yeah, definitely we're seeing the light. And I love it. Or, whether that is something is maybe opening up for us, or we're actually creating it, which it's more of the latter, I feel like, because it's under action needed. We're actually creating the light. We're actually seeing the light. Because of our own mindset shift, right? We're actually seeing things a little bit more positively. All right, issue. We have yin. Okay, so this is more of slow down energy. This is more of softer type energy. This is more of the being type energy. This is more receiving type energy. So we're having an issue with all of the things I just mentioned, okay? Could also be connected to more of an emotional thing versus a logical thing. So maybe we're having issues connecting to our emotions, or, something along those lines. So yeah, we're just having issues in that area. Don't feel like it's major. I usually kind of give you guys, that this corner up here, these three, I usually give you either major or minor, but definitely feels, because they could be a lot, right? Issues, challenges, what's changing, right? This is really, there's a lot going on in that corner up there. But yeah, definitely doesn't feel major, but we might have issues relaxing, pretty, as simple as that, or just being, maybe our energy feels that way, but our schedules are packed. So maybe not a bad thing to maybe cancel a couple of things or something along those lines, unless we got, we go through the rest of the reading and find like, structure type cards or something like that. But it definitely does feel like our energy is wanting us to be a little bit more softer and, a little bit more, receptive and receiving and that kind of thing. So take that as you will, but, it wouldn't be, the worst thing to cancel a few things and not pack the schedule. Challenge. We have gossip in the shadow, thrives in the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidence. Okay, so this could be about, communicating in a way of betraying other people or talking smack about other people. And so it's under challenge. So we have a challenge with that. So somebody might be gossiping about you. Someone might be spreading lies about you. Don't love this one. Somebody might be, you told somebody a secret and somebody told your secret. What I am getting, because I also read intuitively, is that it might not necessarily be, I kind of want to say like intentional, meaning like, I don't think somebody meant to tell your secret, but somehow it came out. We're all human, like, accidents happen, mistakes happen. So it could be more on that end, not so that somebody's actually like seeking to, betray your confidences or something like that. But I definitely do feel like maybe a secret gets out of some kind that you didn't want, other people to know, or other, the world to know, or whatever it actually is. Or again, definitely feel like people may be talking behind your back, and it's definitely a challenge. Gossiping about you and what's going on in your life recently, like that kind of thing. So I definitely do feel like it's a challenge. Definitely feels like more of a challenge than what we got going on in the yin, in the issue section here. Definitely does feel like it might kind of like really bother us. So that stinks. But, I tell you guys the truth. And so far the reading, maybe that's part of like, seeing things a little bit more positively. Maybe this really puts a damper on things for the month. But, we spin it in a more, to see like maybe more like the positive perspective on it. But yeah, it definitely does feel like people are like talking about you behind your back. Might be letting out somebody let out a secret that you didn't want to get out there. Gossip behind your back, maybe to your face, something along those lines. But yeah, not great. Don't love that energy, but crap happens, right? Not too much more I can say about that. So let's move on. Change, stargazer, set your sights higher. Okay, so what's changing is that this is really like the card of potential. So it's saying that what's changing is that we can see our potential a lot clearer. Maybe we set our sights higher, like we set, go for higher goals. We set the bar higher for ourselves or something like that. Maybe you finally apply to a job that you feel like maybe you've been like kind of just like applying at things that you feel like you're overqualified for, and now you're actually going for jobs that that you feel like you really can do and you really deserve. And so I love that. So you're definitely setting your sights higher. Could be anything else, relationships, maybe goals at work, but you're definitely seeing your potential and going for it, right? This is part of like, it's in the change section up here, okay? So it means that you're actually going for it, and I love that. And maybe, in previous months you haven't been like that motivated or ambitious. Definitely feels like the ambition is coming back for sure. Love that. All right, focus. All that glitters. Okay, so this energy is really about like, sometimes we feel like the grass is greener. Sometimes we feel like all that glitters is gold is actually where that comes from. That we're thinking that, maybe it's like some kind of like, it's like an envious energy, right? And so basically it's under focus and priority, and saying like, focus on what you have. Focus, maybe this is linked to gratitude as well, where, be grateful for what you have. Just because other people have other things doesn't mean that they're necessarily happy with the other things, or the things are, the other things are better, right? So just like focus on what you want and what you have, and don't necessarily let, also too, like, it's kind of like an energy of like comparing yourself to others, right? Don't necessarily let yourself compare yourself to others. So focus on that. That's the priority. So don't get distracted by comparisons, what other people have, just focus on what you have and what you want, and focus on you. So I feel like that's a really good message. And we actually haven't had a message like that in a while. So good to know. Reflect between worlds. Okay, so our reflect section is asking us to look at limbo, which is basically 1 foot in your old life, 1 foot in your new life. So basically it's saying to reflect on the transition that's happening here, right? Because we're right in the middle. So reflect on how far you've come and where you're going. Pretty simple. I don't know if I can give specific journal prompts, because we can, this is a reading for the collective. Everybody's going through something different. My situation is, I like seeing this card in the reflect, because it's kind of saying like, at least this is how I'm interpreting it, you reflect on it because it's coming, right? Because the new world is coming, right? And so I can reflect on how far I've come and, you know, where I'm going now. You know, maybe now I can plan ahead, which I really hope is the truth. I would love, I mean, I'm actually recording this when it's still August, so I would love to feel this energy in September for sure. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And hopefully, you know, anybody that's going through any kind of journey that hasn't been pleasant, hopefully you can share the same joy as me about this card. But yeah, basically it's saying like, look at how far you've come, and then now look at where you're going, right? And so it's kind of like you're in between, and maybe you can also kind of reflect and connect the dots of like, you know, why this happened to you, what did you learn from it, you know, etc., etc. So I love that. Our reflect section is always giving us more contemplative thoughts, right? Responsibilities, we have Goddess. Ooh, I love this. The feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. Okay, so tapping into your inner goddess is your responsibility. This is especially for my females out here. So tap into the goddess within you. Tap into that wisdom, that life force, and definitely sensuality. I won't go too much into that any further, but that is your responsibilities, okay? It's very interesting. It's coming under the yin, which yin technically is feminine. I'm really trying to get away from feminine, masculine energies, just stick with the yin and the yang. But here we are, making the connection here. So yeah, this is just, you know, tap into your inner goddess, basically. There's not too much more I could say there without YouTube trying to ban me or something. I still am not super clear on the rules of YouTube, so I try to not toe the line. And I just realized I just pulled two. I try to go in order. I just pulled two from the Wisdom of the Oracle, so in a row. I read intuitively, and if that means that the card was supposed to be pulled, it was supposed to be pulled, so I love that. So just pointing that out. All right, money and finances, we have Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. Okay, so this is under money, finances, and career. So love and let yourself be loved. Okay, love that after the goddess, by the way. But this is basically, this is saying like bringing a loving approach to money, finances, and career. So Spirit is asking you, like, do you love yourself? So don't be taking jobs maybe that don't reflect that is a good way to say this. Don't be taking jobs that maybe disrespect you. Don't be taking jobs, you know, where you feel like your worth is messed with. Because definitely this is about self-love, self-worth. And so you deserve to be paid what you're worth, right? So don't take anything less. So something tells me that you might be offered something, like you might be lowballed, like when it comes to maybe you're starting a new job and you're getting the offer letter and they're definitely lowballing you, right? They're not giving you a number that maybe was, you know, promised within the interview process, and you feel like you're not worth that. Don't be afraid to negotiate then. Right? That's what it's kind of saying. This could also be, because it's under money and finances, it's saying like, don't be afraid to spend your money on yourself, especially if it has something to do with self-love or self-care or, you know, self-worth, like you're worth it. You know, I know some of us have like, money issues in the way of like being frugal. You know, you deserve, like, if you've had the same sheets or bedspread for a while, and then, you know, you just, you know, and they're all ratted up and torn up and stained, you know, you deserve to be sleeping on, you know, some, maybe not the most luxurious, you don't have to, like, you know, go out of your way and, like, spend on, like, you know, I think the best kind is, like, Egyptian cotton or something like that. You don't have to go ahead and do that. But you know, maybe buy yourself some fresh sheets and a bedspread that doesn't have holes in it, you know, like that kind of thing. So definitely, this could be saying like, treat yourself for sure, but also too, like, you know, the thing I was talking about before, don't let people treat you, especially if you're like you're in a career, like you don't have any worth, right? Definitely stand up for yourself, definitely negotiate when needed and that kind of thing. All right, surprise. We have building blocks. Okay, so surprise is, building blocks is always about like starting something new. So this sometimes, like I said, what I've said many times before, is like it's good for entrepreneurs. So this is basically saying you're surprised you're starting something new. So, and if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, this reading is definitely validating a lot of things for a lot of people, I have a feeling, because it's basically saying like, if you were thinking about starting something and you feel like you're not ready, surprise, you're ready, because it's under surprise. So basically it's going to kind of come out of nowhere. So if you start at the beginning of the month being like, nah, it's not time to build something new, create something new, something tells me you're going to find out that yes, it actually, maybe there isn't any right time to do it. Maybe this is, it just feels right to do so. So definitely going to be building something new. If you feel like you're working at a company for 20 years and before that, you were an entrepreneur and you said to yourself you would never go back to trying to, do your own thing. And now all of a sudden this month you feel like out of nowhere, you feel like, no, I definitely want to do my own thing. So that's a surprise for sure. So this could definitely manifest in a few different ways. Doesn't necessarily have to be entrepreneur either. You could create or start something new that you just did not even see coming. That's all I have to say. Like, it wasn't in the plan. But now all of a sudden, poof, now it is. Right? All right, friends, we have artists expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. Okay, so this could be like a few different things for friends. This could be meeting new people that are more creative. This could be hanging around with more people that are creative. This is about creating a community of creatives. This could be being more creative with friends. Maybe you spice it up this month, and instead of going out to eat with your friends on the weekend like you always do, maybe go out and drink, get some food, which there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe instead you guys do a pottery class, right? You're feeling that creative energy. So definitely mixing it up would not be a bad thing. So yeah, definitely we're getting we're tapping into our inner artist, and I love that. Yeah, not too much more I can say here. Romantic connection. We have guardian angel, you're not alone. Okay, so this is really, can be twofold. Could have to do with our relationships one-on-one. We're feeling not alone anymore, which is great for romantic connection. So if we've been feeling like we've been, feeling like our partner doesn't get us, a partner makes us feel alone. Guys, there's nothing worse than being in a relationship and feeling lonely. Definitely do feel like that gets rectified this month, for sure. Maybe you actually just meet somebody this month that doesn't make you feel that way. Like, they really don't make you feel alone. They make you feel heard, seen, appreciated, all of those things. And then the other thing is that this is about a broader sense of like in the universe. Like, we feel like we're alone in the universe. Maybe we get that reconnection some way, somehow with our partner. Maybe you and your partner decide to meditate together. Maybe you and your partner decide to take a spiritual class together. Maybe you and your partner decide to start praying together, right? Maybe you used to and you kind of fell off and now you are again. Whatever it actually is, definitely does feel like in some way, shape, or form it's kind of connected in that way of seeking, connection with the partner, but also too at the same time with a higher power. Okay, what's important? Poised. Okay, love this. It's important to, poised is always about like feeling ready. And so going off of the building blocks, what I said before, sometimes we just feel ready. Maybe the outside stuff is not aligning. Maybe it's like the worst possible time to go travel because you have so many bills and maybe your parent is sick, or you just got a new pet and it's like a really bad time to travel. And so you're like, oh God, everything is telling me not to, but I feel in my bones, in my intuition and my feelings, like I have this inner gut thing telling me that it's time to travel. It's like now or never that I should go on this trip, and like that kind of thing. So it's kind of about like timing, because, and I'm pointing to the building blocks because I almost got like a similar energy there, because it's basically saying like, yeah, maybe it is time to build something. It is time to create something. And maybe like all the other stuff doesn't feel like it is time. Like maybe you want to start your own business, but your kid's about to go to college. Maybe it doesn't necessarily look the greatest, like it's the, you know, the most logical time to start something, but, you know, Spirit is asking us to kind of not necessarily look at that at this particular moment. And saying like, you actually, it's important to understand that, and like maybe your soul is ready, like maybe you're emotionally ready, maybe, you know, like that kind of thing. So if all the other stuff around you does not fall into place, that's okay, right? It's important to know that maybe like you know deep down that you're ready for this next chapter or to do whatever, because it's important to you. But yeah, it's like you can't deny that feeling. So whether it's travel, building a business, whatever it actually is, leaving your job, whatever, you know, it's saying like you are ready, you know, even if there's other evidence in your life that says that you're not. So yeah, use your intuition for sure. Health and wellness. Divine child, what's in the shadow, and ability to defend oneself against negative forces. Okay. Okay, so this is under health and wellness. Okay, so this is a disconnect from something bigger than you. Okay, so we talked about that a little bit with the guardian angel. So more spiritual connection type stuff is kind of coming up here. So basically it's saying like you're kind of, and how it relates to health and wellness, you're kind of disconnected, and not only can it help with their romantic connections this month, it could help in her health and wellness. Again, whether that's a spiritual journey, obviously it could help with a spiritual journey, right? Mental, physical. So this is basically saying like you need to connect maybe more to that and really bring that into like whatever you're going through. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying to see how it would like apply to what I'm going through. I'm going through a physical health thing. I feel like I've been kind of going through it, you know, connected, but you know, I've been like a little off, you know, so maybe I really, you know, dive headfirst into it in this month, you know, and really bring that into my health and wellness journey. Because to be honest with you, like a lot of the journey, you know, has been like more science minded and, you know, more logical and you know, that kind of thing. So a lot of praying is definitely what I've been doing, but you know, maybe this brings myself closer in some way, shape, or form. Not sure. I'll have to report back how it does. But this definitely does feel like it's important to bring in a spiritual connection to whatever you're doing. If you're on a mental health journey, you've been in therapy, you know, on and off, and you know, not on and off, continuously. And maybe you need a little bit more of the spiritual, because I know there's some therapists out there that don't necessarily tap into that, right? Maybe you do need to start seeing a therapist that maybe incorporates cards, or you know, talks a little bit more about if you're religious, maybe like talks a little bit more about the Bible, or you know, whatever, you know, if you're Christian. So there's something here where it's kind of asking us to blend a little bit, and it's like good divine timing to kind of like bring that into whatever you're going through. So that's very interesting. Overall outcome, drum roll. What's our last message here to really kind of wrap things up? Hunter, track down your fears and desire. Okay, that's a good one to end with. This is basically saying, forget your fears, go towards your desires. So I love that. So we're kind of like dropping all of our fears, dropping the ego, being like, I want what I want and I'm going to go for it. So definitely feeling some ambitious energy, very similar type energy going on with the change up there. So I love that. So yeah, I definitely do feel like September is like a turning point, especially for those people that maybe haven't felt so ambitious before. Now are going to start feeling ambitious. Tapping more into that. It's definitely ramping up, and I love that. I really hope that's true for me, to be honest. I have been resting a lot, right? So I would love some ambitious energy to kind of come in. So I love that. So, guys, I'm loving this, right? The only thing that I would actually consider a red flag is that gossip card up there. We have to push through that, right? We have the White Witch asking us to be a little bit more positive, seeing things in a positive way. But someone's going to slip with the secret. Somebody's going to be gossiping about us. Somebody's going to be talking behind our backs, like whatever's kind of like going on there. It's going to be very challenging. That's why it's in the challenge spot, right? But I think we can get through it. You know, everything else looks really, really positive. Right below it is like, you know, the loving yourself, the worthiness stuff. So I love that it's like countering the, you know, the stuff that's going to be going on with gossip. Yeah, I just love it. There's not too much more I can say about this. It looks, you know, like I said, overly possible, but just watch out for that up there in the challenge. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful month. I can't believe we're in September already. Let me know, like I mentioned earlier, in the comments how things resonate with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.